Right, folks, we are up and running. We are live. We're live on Facebook. We're recording this session, so fantastic. Welcome to everybody for day 3 of the virtual trade Fair.africa. It's been amazing 2 days so far. We've had some fantastic speakers, some great conversations, lots of products and services to be browsing around on the stores and the mall and the exhibitions. So I really encourage you to share this as far and wide as you can and get people engaging and involved, because so it's really been a stunning 2 days already, and we're looking forward to the next 2 days exceeding those expectations as well. So no pressure on the speakers to come, but we really are looking forward to it. We've got some quality to come, and so welcome. And Trevor, maybe you'd like to tell us what this is that you're putting up on the screen, and then take over the sessions. Over to you.
Okay, so one of the ways to actually be the first speaker is just to put something up on the screen, and no one can avoid you at this stage. So look, every morning we've decided at 9 o'clock in the morning, the original developers and anyone who wants to come on board will come and have a chat about what it is that they've actually learned and in producing this, and perhaps out of that other folk all around the globe can turn around and say, well, look, if these old bullets can do it, then anyone can do it. But hopefully they want to come and do these things and grow on a global scale with ourselves. Now, I must turn around and say that this is the 3rd day, and I can't remember it all, and that's because I'm 65 years of age, so I forget what I was going to talk about 3 minutes ago, and I have to ramble on. And Sabella, I can see him smiling there. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. But the message that I actually want to share here is that sometimes opportunity comes out of crisis in a big way. And I was looking at this quote here by Shakespeare. There's a tide in the affairs of men. And in this instance, it's all women. So he had it completely wrong. It was the woman that actually kicked us up the butt to get this off the ground. And he turned around and said, listen, if you're going to go for it, okay? And make certain that when you get this opportunity, you take it with all your hands and you paddle like crazy. And if you don't take it, you're going to look back and you're going to be left behind. And I think that's really what's happening here with the virtual trade Fair.africa. And just as a little reminder, if there's anyone new, because I can't see everyone that's on here because of the share screen on my side, this thing began just at the beginning of lockdown here in South Africa. When Dawn and Irene turned around to us and said, listen, our industry in the exhibition, expo, stand building, everything allied to conference, tourism, hospitality was completely annihilated within a day of the decision taken to actually go into lockdown. And then global economies did the same thing. Airlines were grounded. And most businesses actually can't carry 30 days of zero income, let alone 60 to 90 days. And I think we're at about day 86 or day 87 of our lockdown. And that's why business people are pushing to actually try and get back into the swing of things as quickly as possible. But when they came to us and said, no, listen, we've got to do something, we sat down and said, well, what is that something? And the idea was, well, if everyone is going to be at home and all the consumers are at home and all the business people are at home, let's work out how we can actually expose our businesses to consumers and business owners at home. And the idea of virtual trade Fair.africa was born. Within 21 days, the basic platform all came together. And then over the next couple of weeks, we went out and tested it. Now, interestingly for me, I was completely amazed. Now, I'm the technophobe of this whole group. The rest of these people know how to plug a computer in. I don't. I have to wake my granddaughter up of 11 years old, and she actually plugs the laptop in for me. So I'm representative of what I have discovered is across the board that most owners of businesses, I think, are pulling the wool over their own eyes, just as I am, thinking that we can get onto the internet and we can make a fortune overnight just by clicking a button. It doesn't happen that way. And I was amazed to actually see that many operators in the expo industry actually weren't prepared for a major lockdown. And some of them actually had fantastic operations behind their physical operations. But it just said to me that, you know, what is it? Is it that people were just too busy? And I think Dawn came on yesterday at this time slot and turned around and said, no, everyone is so blooming busy getting their stands up, organizing their people, and they just didn't have time to think about, okay, what would happen if we were completely annihilated? What alternative business system could we actually adopt? And that maybe people were stuck like rabbits in the headlights, as we normally all are in a crisis, trying to work out now, what do we do? And the best hope scenario is to get back to the old way of doing things. I don't think there's any going back to the old way of doing things. We actually have to start adding new ways of doing things as quickly as possible. And to me, it tells me that none of us are ready for 4IR, apart from the Ivan Andersons and Gavin Julians of this world at this particular stage. I'm also reminded of this morning as I woke up, when I started this on Friday morning, I was 36 years of age. And after 2 days of this, I had to start doffing my cap to Dawn, Olivia, and Irene. How you people in this expo industry actually get up every morning for 4 days of a conference and face an 8-hour challenge, it just beats me. I was knackered last night, and that's after 2 days. And it felt to me like running a comrades, we haven't even hit halfway. And I'm reminded of the closing comment of Nikki Robertson last night. I had to laugh because Nikki gave such a fantastic closing presentation in the 4 to 5 o'clock slot. And Jasper closed off her session to say, okay, well, that's 2 days down. We've only got another 2 days to go. And Nikki went like this and said, wow, oh, wow. She couldn't believe that we had another 2 solid days of doing this. So I want to kickstart with going back to Dawn and just getting your impression now. You gave such a fantastic impression of the first day. What are your impressions now of the second day? And if you can relate it to just how fast things are moving, and also how much effort it is to get behind this.
Thank you, Trevor. Thanks. Yeah, it's Dawn Olivia from Design. So my background is we've been in the exhibition space, the physical exhibition space, for over 20 years. So having this opportunity after the lockdown, where all our exhibitions have been cancelled and more than likely moved till next year, has given us a lease on life. Irene, who works with Designs, we both knew, where do we go from here? Because there is nowhere else to go. Being physical, you know, we have the visitors from all over the world coming to our shows, so that also left us high and dry. Excuse me. So when the Four Ways Community Chamber, which I'm a member of, decided to do this virtual platform, it was really exciting for us because it's given us a new avenue, and it's new for all of us. We haven't done the virtual space before, but it's been a really exciting ride. The first day was phenomenal. We've managed to get over 100 exhibitors from, so what we decided to do was do the first expo as across the board for all companies to come on board to have their products and services, giving them an opportunity and an outlet to put their business business and products on a platform where they would have nowhere else to go. So we really had a good response to that. We've got over 100 exhibitors in our stalls and exhibition space, and then we're having these great guest speakers every day, which we are all riveted every single day from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. We're sitting here watching great speakers. So for us, it's been amazing, and it's just been mind-blowing how fantastic this has worked out. The first day was phenomenal. It ran so smoothly. It was just incredible. Yesterday we had one or two little technical hiccups, but that's what life is about. So we managed to get through the day. I thought it was still brilliant. We had a great day. And now we're on day 3, and yeah, looking forward to what's coming.
In the background is, I'm trying to catch up as I'm working in the background while you're actually talking. Irene, if you would please come on board, and your beginning of the 3rd day, and perhaps add into your first end of the first day comments. What are your impressions of 2 days and now leading into the 3rd day?
Good morning, everybody. Morning, Trevor and team. The 2 days have been quite phenomenal. You know, as you said earlier this morning, you were quite exhausted yesterday. To give you an example of what, you know, the likes of Dawn and I go through when we actually build the show, there's been shows that we've built, Trevor, where we don't sleep for 48 hours. You sleep on site in a baby chair, as I said, you know. So for Dawn and I, this is fantastic. You know, it's taking things to a new level. It's growing with technology, growing with where the world is going. We've had the most phenomenal 2 days of the expo so far. As Dawn says, over 100 exhibitors, which is fantastic. I think with us opening it up as an open platform has been a brilliant idea, because it's allowing people from all different aspects and all different companies to come on board, giving everybody the equal opportunity, which companies are really desperate for at this stage in the game. You know, so anybody that is, I think they are so desperate to just grab, as I said yesterday, that little olive tree that we are handing out to them. And this is what's creating the platform for us for going forward. We will run future events, more specific, targeted. We'll run, future events that we might even be like an open platform again. We don't know. This is us just testing the field at the moment to see where we're going and how we can develop from here. But what we have achieved, I think, in the last 2 days, and what we'll achieve again today, the 3rd day until day 4, it's really just it's just for us to see where we're going, what opportunities lie ahead for us, and how we can just grow this from strength to strength. But I think the last 2 days have been absolutely phenomenal. The speakers have been great. And yeah, it's been absolutely great to be part of this team.
Irene, I want to tap into your experience. You've been involved in the industry how long?
Trevor, probably about 18 years.
Yeah, 18 years. And,
yeah.
And I want to get an understanding of what is the value of an individual that organizes trade fairs, expos, and that sort of thing. I mean, as knackered as I was after the 2 days, it gave me just a new understanding of how much effort people actually put into organizing these expos and these fairs in the physical world. And I'm wanting to get an understanding, a clear understanding of, did you also feel tired yesterday? Well, look, to be fair, the guys who were doing all the grunt work are the technical guys, okay? And we're going to get to them. But I don't believe there's that much difference behind the effort that goes into putting this type of operation together as it is in the physical world. And so I'd like to get an idea of how much value, or what is the worth of an individual like yourself, Irene, or Dawn, or organizers of past expo industries, exhibitions. How much are they actually worth in putting an
Trevor,
operation like this?
Yeah, like you said, last night I was also exhausted because it's a different kind of exhaustion. When we're on site and we're building up shows, you are literally on your feet 24/7, running all the time. Yesterday we weren't running, but we were sitting and we were actually constantly focused on the speakers and all of that. It's the same kind of tide, but also a different kind of tide, if you understand what I'm saying. You know what, I was actually chatting to some people in the industry, which is like you said, what is the value of our worth, for instance? We were saying what Dawn and I do is a very difficult situation because we can be qualified as project managers, but also not as project managers. We can be qualified as key account managers, but also not key account managers. We've got certain aspects of the trade. Let me just give you a bit of background of how I got involved in exhibitions and events. I've actually I studied business studies after school. That's basically where my background was. My first job happened to be in an exhibition company. So I started off there in the finance department, and then I moved over to the project management side. So that's how I got involved in it. So the worth of a person, it's very difficult because we qualified in so many certain areas, but you don't actually have the qualifications. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very different kind of industry.
Let me put it this way. The average person that actually comes into the trade fair, virtual trade Fair.africa, gets a full-on exhibition stand. If they're sharp, they get to become a speaker, and they get a speaker spot in the auditorium. And then we move them across to the trade mall, and that trade mall, they have 12 months exposure when they move across. Now, if that was applied in the physical world, that a company wanted to come on board as an exhibitor, and let's talk a corporate, a nice JSE listed operation. Let's take a Microsoft. Let's take those operations that really go lavish on exhibition stands, etc. And then let's also consider a smaller business person, especially here in South Africa. And you know what, it's worldwide. People are actually struggling. They need exposure. So the small business operator that can't attract people into a retail mall until we get a total reopening of the economy, let's get also to get an idea of how much they would invest to get exposure in a physical conference venue or expo with a stand. So let's take that corporate. What's their investment? What's a Microsoft? What's a data? What's a Discovery? That type of operation going to spend to get exposure in Gallagher Estate, for instance?
Well, I don't think you can actually compare, Trevor, to what we are actually offering our exhibitors to what you would get in the physical world. In the physical world, you get your pre-marketing, which is about 2 to 3 months before the event.
How much?
Then you get, I'd say that's, okay. Are you talking we're talking at an exhibitor perspective?
And you can be conservative. How much are you spending?
Okay, let's say 100,000 Rand.
Okay, next,
at
go,
least.
because we don't have time here. Let's just go, numbers.
Okay, at the event, a Microsoft, you'd spend, let's say, 500,000.
Yep, that's 600,000. Yep.
After the event, I'd say maybe another 200,000.
Yep.
And then your marketing stops, done. You don't get anything further than that.
You don't get 12 months exposure.
Nope.
Okay, so we're looking at anything for a corporate, anything between 500,000 to 1 million, and I bet you there some folk in the corporate environment saying, "Yes, I wish." If only that. You don't understand all the people that we pay for, the staff, all the time it actually takes. You're undercounting here big time, okay? But
absolutely.
So look, let's push corporate expenditure aside. Small guy, got a retail store. Let's say they're selling new brand shoes. They want to get it out into the marketplace. There's no way to do it. So they go off to an expo industry. What would they be spending?
Okay, so pre-event marketing, we're conservative now. Let's say 15 grand. At the event, I'd say at minimal 30 grand. After the event, I'd say 5 grand. So 45,000.
That's it. And you know, how many days? Maybe it's 2 days, maybe 3, maybe 4 days. This is a 4-day event. And then that's it. They've spent the money. You better have done whatever you can do with the people that have come past you. Nothing more.
That's it. Once the event's done, you don't get exposure till the next one runs. That's it.
All right. And now compare that, Irene, to what has been done here at the virtual trade fair. In other words, what value are we offering to folks when you consider that we switch them from the 4-day into a 12-month virtual mall situation that carries, and if they're smart, they bring all of their marketing collateral across into the mall. What value does it offer over 12 months?
There's no comparison, to be honest with you. The value is uncomparable. I mean, what we're offering is probably on a scale of about 5 times more than any physical exhibition actually offers their exhibitors. Talking about exposure related, you know, for the individual companies, if not more. I mean, our value is so much more than in the physical world.
All right, so interesting. Sabella, I'd like to bring you on board because you were busy traveling. I don't know how you work out this traveling from place to place, but I'm not going to tell anyone. And you're in the Outer Hebrides somewhere. Give us your impressions of what you've seen going on at the virtual trade Fair.africa. And I must tell everyone that hasn't met with Sabella, that Sabella is the chairman of the Four Ways Community Chamber of Commerce. His background is phenomenal in the development of the new dispensation in South Africa. I'm just going to leave it at that. A mover and shaker in putting the whole plan together of the new dispensation in those early days. And also an executive board member of Bidvest, served, I think, with or under our current president, and also was part and parcel of developing the plans for 2010 as well. So Bill, I've got that all wrong, I'm sure, but I'm building you up a big picture. I just want you to go ahead and give us your impressions of what you've seen happen with this virtual trade Fair.africa and what impresses you.
Thank you so much, Trevor. Thank you for the introduction. And thanks a lot for the input from Dawn, Irene. And actually, I just want to share with you that I heard people saying that.
Sabella, I'm going to ask you just to have a break. If you can pull that plug out of the laptop that's into your earphones and just talk into the laptop, it might be clearer. There's something that's distorting from that distance, and I'm wondering if it is the earphones or any connection that you've got. Just give us a try there.
The problem is, I can't. Can you hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Pull it out of your laptop.
It's not going to be possible. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's very distorted. Let's give it a go.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, but it is distorted and wobbling.
Yeah, because it's connected from the computer, it's going to be difficult to disconnect it.
Okay, so it's a challenge, and Ivan, would you like to just make a comment on what are the technical solutions here, just to see if we can bridge that gap?
True. I'm not sure. It may be his connectivity, you know, and he doesn't have great connectivity where he is at the moment. But Gavin, yeah, you got some ideas there?
Yeah, is that a wireless headset or a wired headset?
It's a wireless.
Okay, your Bluetooth connection is rubbish. You need to either get a wired mic or take off the headset and talk with the headset switched off. and that'll take the wobbling away.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to Jasper while Sabelo is working with it. Did you switch it off? Okay, Jasper, so come on board and we'll get back to Sabelo and see if we've got a solution there. Jasper, if you can add to, I mean, yesterday when we did this session, you were absolutely bubbling about the first day. And how are you feeling now after 2 days down and leading into the third day?
Now, I think all of us were a bit exhausted yesterday after the second solid day of hosting an event. But I think overall, I'm very upbeat about this event happening, because leading up to the event, you know, there's so many unknowns and uncertainties that the temptation is always there to say, all right, we're not ready yet, we're not perfect yet, let's pull the plug on this date and extend it to another time. And I'm happy that we pushed through. And I know even a week before the time, we made some drastic changes to the format of the event. So what it illustrates to me is, first of all, that, you know, the best thing is pull through, do it. And like you said in your opening talk Friday, you refer to the Indiana Jones movies, where we are building the plane as we are already in the air, but we are still holding onto it with glue and rubber bands and whatever comes our way. But I think what I'm excited about is it shows me the future. And when I say it shows me the future, it shows me what can be done if people from a diverse background and a variety of disciplines can just focus on the same cause and the same vision and bring their skills to the party. And, you know, a lot of people did a lot of work up front. A lot of people are doing work right now. And a lot of work will still be done after this event. But it's not to start counting how much work do you do versus what I do, but it's like this concerted effort to say, this is such a great idea. This is such a big thing that where we're going into the future, I think doesn't matter. And, you know, although COVID is devastating, not so much in the deaths it caused, but in the economic death it will be causing. But it was a good catalyst to force people who would normally, like Dawn says in her industry, they were so busy and things were okay, maybe not the best, but they were okay, that they didn't have time to do the new thing. Now, I think this last 3 months has forced us to do the new thing. Now, we're still not really sure what the new thing is, but I think we're pretty close on having discovered at least this kind of powerful platform. Coming from the various speakers, I was amazed that 3 months ago, we probably didn't know 50% of the speakers who were on the air. And to hear those speakers speak and to almost experience them as co-family, as if I know them for many, many years, simply because of their story and where they come from. And I think the amazing networks we are starting to build. I mean, on the first day, we had people from Ghana, we had people from the UK. And it's literally covering the economic spectrum across the board. So I think what stands out for me out of this whole thing is that if you want to do something big, and we need something big to build a new economy, it will not happen with people working in isolation, doing a little bit here and a little bit there, and spending 80% of their resources to reinvent the wheel. The future will happen for those people, and we had a brilliant speaker yesterday as well, John, on unlocking resources and how to mobilize and quantify resources. So I think having this kind of platform, and I'm mostly referring to the speakers, but this kind of platform is what we've seen this last 2 days, and we continue today and tomorrow, is just, it's almost just painting the outline of what is to come. And as we go forward, we're going to see some very exciting things. And, you know, if you would allow me, I would like to just quickly go to the back end and use myself as an excuse. We were so busy that I haven't actually had time to look at some of the sites. So leading up to today, I just went into the back end and I said, let me just look at some of the sites, what's happening. And it's amazing. Let me just see if this is the one. Could be that one. So here's our speaker list for the rest of the day. Let me just see if this is. So when people come in and they click information, it takes them to the exhibitors directory. Then from the exhibitors directory, they will start seeing on the left hand going down, and we're already standing at 105 registered stalls that people have. I think for probably 80% of those people, it was their first experience in registering themselves and putting up their products, and they've done a great job. I've just picked on one of the stalls, Gig CFI, because there's a very important special there that people are not seeing if they don't visit the stalls. Now, Gig CFI is a membership program with a community bank, and part of becoming a member is a once-off registration of 250 Rand, and then a monthly fee of either 60 or 120 Rand. But you know what I picked up here and just browsing through it, here they can have it for free. The first 3 months membership fee waived for the first 50 applications. Now, man, that's a fantastic job. What's in it for you? Well, I know the product behind it, but how would you like to have access to even interest-free loans? So that's just one of the stalls that I picked up on there. Now, if you go back to the exhibitor booth, on the right-hand side, we have the 3D booths or the exhibitor booths, and Dawn and her team was very instrumental in helping to design these booths. Now, they differ slightly from the stall in that they have much more things to show you, and I'm just going to pick on her store. And these are some very interesting plug-in points. So if you click on the plug-in points, it says download our brochure here, or take a full look at what we do on the website, see how you will benefit. So these are the kind of things that we are now able to give any future and any future trade fair. And I know Dawn and the team is talking about going for themed events, but whatever you can imagine can now be created for you in a booth. And it allows you so much more. So download our brochure here and see the sort of stuff that can be done in terms of the work they do. So that is just to show the power of what we have here. So I'm going to stop.
Yes, but please go back to that booth, if you don't mind, Dawn's booth there, the little picture that you said that Designs had. Of the actual booth, that one. Just hang on with that one, and Dawn, I'd like you just to come back on board for us. Now you have a look at that, and you walk into any exhibition conference facility, and you walk into a booth like that has been mapped out, planned, and actually built. How much are we looking at for that particular booth in, let's talk Gallagher Estate, in Sandton City somewhere? How much, Dawn?
Yeah, in the real world, Trevor, you're probably looking at about 300,000 Rand to put this together with the customized floor and all the graphics and finishes. So it's around about 300,000 Rand for. And
you come in here and you got it like that. Absolutely unbelievable. And the trick is, and the point of my referring back to value is that people need to get a good understanding of what value really is. I don't believe in the online digital space people really understand value, and they mistake what the corporates are doing, the Silicon Valley billionaires, the Amazons and this sort of thing, who pump billions of dollars to getting these type of investments off the ground to actually build scale and then they can put these things out at almost what seems to the marketplace to be almost free. But in fact, the investment into that is in the billions of dollars. And it takes these individuals, like the Amazons of the world, 10 years to recoup, and maybe even longer. And you know where I'd like to go. Yes, but sorry, do you want to finish your point? Because I want to go to Gavin on talking about the value and the worth and the type of effort that the technical people have put in behind this. So Jasper, have you finished your point?
Basically, because I just want to let people know that however exciting our speaker sessions are, that's just a component of the total event that we've put together. And don't miss out on some of the specials that people have put aside for you in their booths and in their stalls. So if you don't want to miss out on the speaker sessions, then do it afterwards, because our event is open 24/7. And you still have until Monday evening, 5 o'clock, to visit all the booths.
So yes, but it's so important that you actually brought this up, because my confession is I haven't had a moment to go and look at any one of those stands. Ivan in the background has been building stands for us, so we've got stuff to give away. But this is like the cobbler doesn't even cobble his own kids' shoes. I haven't had a chance to go and give that away. We need time to actually build this up. I want to get to Gavin. Gavin, yeah. So you're going to go for it, but the direction I'm going to take you in here is man, how much of your personal time as an individual has been pumped into this? You guys from the technical side, what is required to get this off the ground, and where is the future value, and where do we pitch this in the marketplace, and how do we marry between launching an operation as we've done here versus the scale of an Amazon or an Uber or those sort of things? So perhaps you can bridge those gaps for us.
Okay, let me lie like crazy to you. This took forever. Actually, Trevor, no. You know, the sad part is that because I've done this sort of thing quite often and for a long time, it actually doesn't take me a hell of a long time to put it together. What does take a long time is involving other people. You know, like a typical techie. I mean, if I'd have been left alone, this thing would have been up and ready technically in about 3 days. But that's not really the point. The point is there's an awful lot of people involved that need to be involved, and that takes 3 days to 21 days. You know, so technically it's not difficult, but from the point of view of interaction between people that are involved and the marketing especially, that is a time-consuming and fairly complex set, because you know, silly things like I was noticing this morning, that people would be on for the first couple of meetings and then forget for the rest of the day. So technically I should put a calendar in the background that people can sort of grab the events and put it on their calendar to be reminded. You know, silly things like that. So it's not hard to do. It just becomes a complex operation because of the number of people involved. That's all.
Gavin, I'm actually going to tackle you because I think you almost undermine your own value here. And yes, where I want to take us back here for all of us to actually understand. When you actually turn around here and say you've done this for years, look, there's no way that I can do this at all. As I say, I battle to actually switch on the laptop in the morning, and I get frustrated when it takes like 30 to 60 seconds to actually come to light here. You turn around and say, but I've been doing this for such a long time. Give me an idea of how long you've been doing this.
I've been online, and I've been doing online meetings, and actually I was looking the other day. A very good friend of mine who passed away many years ago, a chap by the name of Ralph Hersoff, who was part of the Anglo-American group. We were the first two individuals to try and use email That's how long ago I started doing this sort of stuff.
That's 1994. I know.
It's
Because
slightly earlier than 94, but yeah, about that era, yeah.
All right, so that's when we all switched onto the internet, and by then we'd already bypassed each other in the corporate spheres. We were involved even before that particular time. But let's just say 1994, 2004. We're almost at 2024. We're almost there. Let's say close to 30 years. Now,
Close to 30 years, yeah.
30 years of your investment time. What would you value that at?
I don't think there is a value you can put on that. You know, the big problem is...
Now, I'm pushing you. I want a value. 2 million, 5 million, 10.
I think if someone wants me to sit in an office in their company for a whole year, 2 to 3 million would be an interesting number. Otherwise, I'm not that interested.
Thank you. So let's go conservative. We're not going to give you 30 years credit here. We're only going to give you 10 years credit. So what was your figure? Did you say 3 million or 1 million?
Yeah, 3 million per year, yeah.
No, but this is the point. When you actually turn around and say, hey, listen, you know, if you give me 3 days here and if I didn't have to deal with Nell and all his challenges and teach him how to switch on this thing, I could do this in 3 days. And people turn around and say, hey, 3 days. Well, there's no value behind this.
You know, if you're going to charge for time,
Yep.
It's not worth my while to talk to people. If you're going to charge for knowledge and for the result you end up with, I don't think people would complain at all once they see the result of what they pay.
But this is what people need to understand, that the value of the experience and the time put in to allow a Gavin to do this in 3 days is phenomenal. Now, what I question here is, why are there not 100 Gavins around, turning around and saying, man, this is one of the most exciting projects I've actually seen. And you know what? We've even got more expertise, more experience. What we've learned as youngsters coming through, we can add to Gavin. If we had 20 of you, what could we do on a global scale?
Now, there are a couple of me around, and again, it sounds egotistical, but both my sons make me look like an idiot. You know, so there's a generation coming that this stuff is just normal for them.
Yeah. Okay, but get the idea. I believe, and I wear a cap that is a 20X. And what I'm looking to do is to turn around and say, man, you look at the critical people just in this little network here. If we had 20 Dawns, 20 Irenes, 20 Jaspers, 20 Ivans, 20 Gavins, 20 Sabellas, for goodness sake, what could we do on a global scale?
Well, how many countries you want to take over?
Thank you very much. I mean, it's that easy to actually dominate and get out there and do it. And this is how we got to think. We got to think at scale. And scale will allow us to build really large projects. And I'm watching time just disappear so quickly. Sabella, are you able to come back on board? Is he around? And if you can drop the share screen there, Gavin. Yes.
Yeah, I'm back. So I don't know whether you can hear me now or it's still a problem.
Give it a whirl. Let's give you a minute or two and see if we can interpret it. It has got a wobble, but give it a go.
That's the challenge part. But anyway, what I want to say is that picking up from your earlier comments, to say that really the way we have done business now changed. Can you hear me?
Yes, Sabella, I mean, we want to hear you. I just so if I can suggest, if you can put a bit of a note into the chat facility so that we can actually read that out in the next 10 minutes, just as we get to the closing. In fact, you better do some quick notes quickly, because I see we're close to the top. But Sabella, man, we want to hear you big time on your impressions. Give us a little note in the chat facility and we'll read that out. Thank you very much. Ivan, come on board. As usual, I've given you all the time in the world to actually come up. I can't believe how fast the time has gone here. Your thoughts?
Oh, thanks, Trevor. Yeah, look, it's you know, I want to pick up on your point with Gavin. I think there has been a massive amount of effort in the background, and to you know, just and I agree with Gavin. A lot of it is engagement with people and sorting out users, and you know, making sure that things work, and helping people get up and going, and those sorts of things. That takes a lot of time. You know, the core infrastructure is not that complex, that I do agree with, but there's a lot of things that go around that process that do chew up a lot of time. So yeah, I think one mustn't minimize the time investment or the intellectual property investment that has been made by everybody in this process. I think it has been significant, and I think it's showing. You know, look, it's not perfect yet, but you know, we're tweaking and developing and changing on the fly, as you keep on saying. You know, this plane has gotten off the ground, and I think it's actually gotten off the ground in an amazing fashion. And the first 2 days have just blown me away. I mean, the quality of the engagement, the speakers, you know, the presentations has been superb. So it's really impressive, and really looking forward to these next 2 days to make things happen. You know, it's just a matter of interest. I was having a quick look at some of the statistics on the back end of the site. You know, we've had over 15,500 page views on the site, and you know, I think that's pretty impressive. You know, so you know, obviously there's a lot going on there, and you know, more than we realize sitting in this environment and actually looking at the screen. You know, I'm starting to feel like I've got insect eyes, you know, sort of multifaceted, multi-lensed eyes by looking at all these little squares on the screen in front of me for 8 hours a day. But I've been blown away. I really have, and I think we can just go from strength to strength here.
So I'd like you, because you know me pretty well, and I'm not one that sits down and turns around and says, okay, well, let's do this for a couple of days, and let's see if we can attract 30 odd people or 50 odd people or whatever. I don't believe you can run a quality business with that small number of clients. So when I'm talking and I'm sharing with everyone here, pick yourself up. Just pick up your vision of where you thought this might go and multiply it by 20 times. In my head, and you know, I always have the target number of 1,000. I don't care where it is. For me, there's no tipping point until you get somewhere close to 1,000, and then you can assess whether the project is worth it or not. I'm saying, Ivan, that I think we need 1,000 of us in the background. And if we did have 1,000 of us in the background, what would that allow us to achieve?
Yeah, look, I think it's an interesting, you know, it's an interesting target to actually set for oneself. You know, the challenge is getting people to step up to the plate and really participate. And I think, you know, that's one of the things. You know, we're always looking for leaders and people who are actually, you know, prepared to run point on specific projects and targets. And I think this is what it really needs. And I think that's what you're referring to. It's not necessarily a question of having 1,000 vendors in the system, although that would be wonderful. I mean, we've got over 100 already in just a few days, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. You know, so we got to drive towards those targets to make it really economically viable for everybody. You know, both the exhibitors and the people who are running the back end and the promotion side of these businesses. It needs to become a real business, and then everybody benefits. And I think that's our real goal is to create an environment which is a real win-win environment for everybody who participates. And as we've said, you know, this is the Chamber's gift to trying to kickstart the economy and get it back and up and running. And it needs all hands on deck, and those hands must come from all sectors of the economy. And you know, if that can happen, then I think this thing just goes through the roof. And we find those people that you're looking for. We find the technical skills. We find the marketing skills. We find, you know, the advertising skills. We find the right vendors. We find the right products. We find the right services. All of that starts to come together, and you create an ecosystem that starts to drive its own economy in a fashion. And I think that, you know, that for me I think is where your mindset is. It's where my mindset is, and I think that's where we want to take this thing.
And this was what I was asking you to find, the man in the arena. And again, I don't know how these people got it all wrong. It's the woman in the blooming arena, man. Dawn, so you know, I doff my cap. It's not the critic accounts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the woman who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood. Dawn, just go and wash your face quickly, please. Who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there's no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if she fails, Irene, at least fails while daring greatly. If she fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that her place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Look, for me, the reading of something like this is, if this virtual trade fair had not got off the ground because of the inputs of the individuals who actually drove it, we actually wouldn't be sitting here talking about, well, how can we get 1,000 people behind a project like this? And if we get 1,000 people behind a project like this, what can we do throughout Africa? And how many businesses can we take from Africa and represent them into the global world and vice versa? You know, I'm just so impressed that when you actually develop something that people can see, they can actually come on board and try and test it. So those are some of the thoughts that I just would hope come out of you. And I saw some lovely comments in the chat facilities, Motlapuli. You seem to have caught the drift of what I'm trying to pick up here. I better stop share and then I can get there. And that is in the chat facility, I saw you turning around and saying, hey, you know, for the first time you started to get an appreciation of what it has taken to organize this thing. And then Stella came on board and said, yes, I mean, tremendous value. And I don't believe that markets really understand, especially digital consumers, understand just how much is behind every shopping mall or every website or every digital offer, how much investment has actually gone into getting that to you and to maintain it in the marketplace. And what we've got to do is get people to recognize the amount of value that we've got, and then 20x everything behind that operation. So listen, I'm an old boy. I appreciate just how much effort that people have to put into projects like this. And I want people to get an understanding. And there's Sabella came in. I agree with Irene, Trevor, and Gavin on the value that we can offer to business is much more than traditional exhibition. When we go digital marketing and communication, we'll have participation through the world. I'm also not one, I must say, on that comment who thinks that digital will do away with physical. I think what we are showing here is how important digital will be to actually back up physical and vice versa. And I better stay quiet now because I know we're close to the top of the hour. And Ivan, you want to get us ready for the next speaker.
Yeah, Trevor, I think that's a great place to leave it off on for this particular discussion. You know, you've posed some superb questions and comments as to get people thinking about how this thing goes forward and how it can go forward and what it can become. So I'd love to just leave that there for this session, and I need to stop these recordings to set up for the next session. But feel free to carry on chatting as soon as I've switched off for the next couple of minutes, and then we've got Guy Danes up. So at the top of the hour.